This episode of Obscure Chatter is brought to you by vaccines. Shut up. Just shut the fuck up and get them for fucking sake. And now, onto the episode. Welcome to another episode of Obscure Chatter. I am your host, Terri Doty. If this is your first time listening, welcome. And if it isn't, welcome back. Howdy, partners. Giddy out, folks. Yeehaw. Okay, I'm done. Am I? Yes. Can you tell I've missed you? Have you missed me? What do you mean, no? How very dare you? Nah, I get it. I did come in hot and heavy with this whole thing. Who? It's a shame you didn't see this little lasso action that I'm doing and did and will continue to do. But I gotta say, I am happy I didn't try that last week. My arms are officially unfucky from my annual COVID and flu vaccines. Not flow vaccines. No. Flow from Progressive has not created a vaccine, unfortunately. It's okay. Allergies are so fucky. Y'all are hearing them around and happen. Oh gosh. I recorded an audition earlier and it was like, am I just not a voice actor anymore? Because the phlegm and everything just kept really sexy stuff. But the first time I did both shots at the same time, or like the pharmacist actually did them in the same arm, and I don't think a pharmacist has offered to do that since. Probably a good thing that they haven't, because it fucking sucked. It was my right arm the first time, and I'm right-handed, so I ended up doing very little until I recovered. No regrets, and still no regrets. Every time now, like, they just ask which arm do I want, or which do I want in which arm. And I think my most recent time, the pharmacist, this is the only time the pharmacist actually recommended I do the COVID shot in my non-dominant arm. So it's like, yeah, let's do your left arm since you're right-handed. And good call, because for some reason it fucking sucked this time. Scheduling all that was fun. Fun in the way that is super not. Because of baloney going on, I actually got the shots earlier than I was planning on by about a month. I really don't know if I'll be able to get them next year. I don't like not knowing if I'm going to be able to get them next year. I don't think I even need to explain all of that shit. Do I? Nah, I don't. Because y'all are smart. I mean, you listen to Obscure Chatter after all. One weird thing the pharmacist did, after he bandaged me up, he handed me a coupon. I was at CVS, and a bag of popcorn. He handed me those things and then winked at me, did finger guns wink, and then just left. I was so confused. I was like, does the popcorn help somehow? Or it was bland popcorn. I miss really shitty. Oh man, I miss really shitty popcorn. I've been craving cheddar popcorn since I mentioned it in the last Obscure Chatter. That was my go-to popcorn when I was watching horror movies as a kid. Oh man, especially watching anything Tales from the Crypt related. Speaking of horror or movies and media in general, what have y'all been reading, watching, listening, and playing to distract yourself from the, world? I say playing because I don't think I ever mentioned video games, but the Hellraiser game that's coming out or has come out, I don't know right now. I really, really want to play it. I have no way to play it with the stuff in my, personal library right now, but I will find a way because that looks so good. But, I don't think I ever mentioned video games because I don't think it's a secret. I don't play video games. I've been listening to The Bald and the Beautiful a lot more recently. I don't listen to it all the time, but I might try to listen to it more consistently. I love Trixie and Katya. I don't think that should shock anybody if you follow me on social media. And they're doing a kind of recap of Drag Race season 7, which is where they met. And again, yeah, it's not like a true recap, but they do cover a lot of stuff that was going on behind the scenes or what happened since then, blah, blah, blah. And they also talk about how some things aged poorly almost instantly in some cases. It's hit or miss with me when it comes to animated Marvel stuff, but they might have convinced me to tune back into something. I've been a fan of Baby Metal for years, and I was so happy to hear From Me to You with Poppy in the Marvel Zombies trailer. From Me to You has been in heavy rotation since then. I don't know if I'd ever heard it, but I was like, who the fuck is that? Oh, shit. So if I like Marvel Zombies, you can thank a hell of a good trailer. And if I don't like it, you can. If I don't like it, I'll forgive Baby Metal and Poppy. They're trying. I got Steven into Poppy, and now I think he listens to her more than I do. We always share music and are very honest about what's hitting or missing with us. Like Steven's tried to get me in to Wumpscut for years, and it finally worked. Could I name the song that he played that got me into him? No, but it's all good stuff. Another Steven approved band is Snake River Conspiracy. I really, really enjoyed their one album. They only came out with one album in 2000. It might be a cop-out, but Love Song's my favorite. They do a lot of really cool covers. Oh, and I might have convinced Steven to give Orgy a shot. Or maybe it was just lip service. Nah, we're pretty honest. But it wasn't their Candy Ass album. It was the album with, I think it was called like Fiction. But I think it was Dramatica. Or Dramatica. But yeah. See? So, we're both winning. We're both winning. And we both love Nine Inch Nails because it's Nine Inch Nails, y'all. They've been popping up a lot in my feeds. I think it's partly because of Tron Ares, and also, of course, they're touring. I really wish Jared Leto wasn't in the new Tron. I mean, seriously, why can't I just have my Sam Flynn sequel? I'll even deal with the Olivia Wilde of it all if I had to. I'll focus. Sorry. Good things. I will say, I must have rewatched the Trent Reznor breaking out of his song when he saw like a Santa crowd surfing. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out. Look it up. And as far as Tron Ares goes, I am really excited about the soundtrack, at least. As Alive as You Need Me to Be has also been in heavy rotation. But seriously, why the fuck is Jared Leto here? Why? I was actually just thinking about soundtracks in general because of our last date night. Steven and I were watching the 86 Transformers movie in our whatever room. That's what we call what some people might refer to as a den, but we call a whatever room because it serves a lot of different functions. We're very, very fortunate to have the whatever room. But I have Transformers on VHS, which is a great way to watch stuff as far as I'm concerned. And I think this is the first time I really clocked how odd it was that it's more songs than score. Like Weird Al is such a random song choice. I love him, obviously. I just would love to know like the thought process behind the song choices and the lack of a consistent score. I'm sure there's one person, because I had a lot of people replying to my like one post about like me having watched it. And all my dude friends came out and like, oh my God, I remember, I know all of these songs. Like I know in what order they play and blah, 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 blah. I'm sure they have an answer for me. I just won't ask. And again, it's still a great movie. And now that we've rewatched that, we can finally jump back into the animated series from the 80s. We stopped after season 2 because season 3 picks up right where the movie left off. And it was good to get a refresher. I did check out something that I'd been meaning to check out, but never really had like the urge to. I think it would shock some people when I say that Wes Craven isn't a guaranteed win for me. He's made some stuff that has genuinely pissed me the fuck off. Like my favorite Wes Craven is probably not even Nightmare related. It's or Scream related. It's People Under the Stairs. But I wouldn't say that's why, like, you know, the stuff that he's done to piss me off. I wouldn't say that's why I'd avoided Red Eye, but it was good. It was just like hey, simple movie, you know. Just popped it in, vibed. That's all. That's all it needs to be. I'd say the biggest movie I loved since the last time we chat was Thunderbolts. Shut up. If you're groaning, just shut your beautiful face. When I tell you I loved this film, I don't think I'm really expressing just how special it really is to me. Like, Thunderbolts is so much more than a Marvel movie. And that's not to say that there aren't other Marvel movies that have endeared themselves to me. This is just different. It dealt with some heavy, heavy subject matter, yet it didn't go dark throughout, which again could also describe some other Marvel movies. And I think I've loved Lewis Pullman in everything I've ever seen him in. I used to, weirdly, I think I mentioned this in the last episode when I was talking about Legacy of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. And I was talking about how Kurt Russell and his son are both really handsome. I think I said Kurt Russell can still get it. And then I said Wyatt Russell could. But Lewis is kind of under that same umbrella where I used to have a big crush on his dad. And when I saw Lewis, I'm like, God, that's one handsome fucking man. Look at, oh, I used to have a big crush on your dad. Like, I should really examine this at some point. And Steven actually pointed out for the first time that it wasn't shocking that I loved Lewis Pullman's character of Bob Sentry in The Void. And I forget the term that he used for Bob. I think it was murder puppy. I want to say it was something like that. I'm going to say murder puppy. He said that there's something about him being dark but soft and awkward. And the follow-up I have to that is, what's that say about you, Steven? Do you really want to pull at that thread? Murder puppy. I think it was a clip on TikTok that made me want to check out Shrinking, which the clip is hilarious with zero context. So that's hard to do sometimes. When I finally checked it out, I was blown away. It is funny yet heartbreaking, sweet but sorrowful. Each episode so far has required a deep discussion afterward with Steven. I feel like Jason Segel doesn't get the love he deserves. Like, the first thing I think I saw him in was Can't Hardly Wait. He was a guy that soaked a watermelon in liquor and just hung out with the movie Stoner. You know who else I like that never got much play? Velma from Scooby-Doo, and Jason's just eating the watermelon like fucking. So yeah, to say like, you know, or to cut to him now with this show, it's brilliant. He's brilliant. Everybody's brilliant in it. And I don't think I've ever seen this side of Harrison Ford. I can't think of another show he's done. Like, it feels like he's done another show, at least one other one, but I can't think of it. It's something that we're used to seeing from Harrison, but also not at the same time. And I've missed Michael Urie being on my TV. He's been a win since Ugly Betty. He's also in one of my favorite like guilty pleasure rom-coms called The Decoy Bride with David Tennant. Last night I finished the third season of Foundation, and I'm still digesting it, honestly. This was my favorite season Cleon. This is my favorite Cleon of Lee Pace's entire Cleon catalog. If you don't get that, you've got some watching to do. My favorite character is still Demerzel. And again, I want to explain stuff to you, but no, I want you to watch it. I want you to watch it. Some people have been shit-talking it, and I'm confused because there's nothing like it on television. It honors the source material, but is very fresh. I think each season gets better and better. You might dig it. You might dig it. I'm a big fan of Brigid Kemmerer, and I think I have most of her library. Her new book, Warrior Princess Assassin, flew under the radar somehow. I didn't hear about it until I got an alert from Goodreads. I just went straight into it the second it was available. And this is literally me reading. Like, Steven was sitting next to me. This is literally me reading. Like, oh, a love triangle. It's been a minute since I've read ooh, no, it's a throuple. Go on. You might dig it. You might not. Are you keeping up with Doty lore on Instagram? I don't know why, but I hate the way that I asked that. That was weird. Well, if you are following me on Instaham, you might have seen a picture I posted of me at SeaWorld when I was maybe 12, like 12 or maybe a little bit younger. SeaWorld in San Antonio was one of the last trips I can recall going on with my brother, dad, his girlfriend Pam, and her kids Cameron and Sean. And the pic was of me and the rest of the kids with a Shamu mascot because I love, present tense, love orcas. And I was talking about wanting to be an oceanographer when I was a kid and how SeaWorld definitely kind of crushed that dream. But I was going on and on about the outfit I was wearing in that photo because you can barely see it to Steven, that I realized I'm like, I have a better photo of that later in the day. So the next day I posted a pic and I have the dorkiest smile on my face and I'm so tan. And I can't remember the last time I was that tan. Oh, wait. No, I was a maid of honor in someone's wedding and she made me tan. That was forever ago. But getting back to why I was bringing this up is I cut everything out of the photo just to show off the fit. But the reason I'm so dorky in it is because I'm in front of this giant model of a Brachiosaurus. I forget SeaWorld had a dinosaur section until I was coming through photos. I don't know why they have this or if they still have it. And there were a few other dinosaurs. But y'all, I think I was asking Steven about this. Like, what was his favorite dinosaur as a kid? Like, we all had a dinosaur. I feel like we all loved dinosaurs. There's something about the wonder and these creatures and like knowing that they really existed. Sorry. No, I'm not getting into that. People that think dinosaurs didn't exist. And there are some still around. You know, there are sharks and crocodiles from the Triassic. And there are chickens. Chickens are, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. But this was definitely, that photo was definitely after the first Jurassic Park movie came out. But I'd been a fan of dinosaurs already. But Jurassic Park definitely didn't hurt. I'd often heard how different the book was. And I bought the book on Kindle forever ago and even bought the follow-up, Lost World. And both of them were on sale. Because, man, the prices of some Kindle books are like bananas. As someone who has one book out, I feel guilty asking for $2.99. Ugh. But a lot of y'all don't have that same problem. But I finally took the time to read the books. I liked the first one, so I went on to the next one. And I love them. I really did. They're very, very different than the Spielberg films and the other films that followed. I haven't watched the movies since I finished the books, and I think I need to. I think I'll pick up on stuff in a very different way, and that's kind of exciting. Even Steve and I watched Jurassic Park 3 together once, Steve, Yurko, and I, and there's just little inside jokes that we have now from like the aviary scene and all that. But I had learned that Michael Crichton didn't want to write a sequel. He never had before Jurassic Park. But the second movie came out and it was already, or the first movie came out and then he was kind of incentivized to write a second book, and the second movie was already greenlit. And it was even kind of in pre-production, and Spielberg just kind of guessed at some stuff until Crichton published the book. And the second it was published, Spielberg was like, yeah. And Ian Malcolm is absolutely my favorite character. More so now because I've read the books. I didn't like the sequel as much of either the book or the film, but I am happy I read both. And it took me a while to get to them, but I finally did. Let me get some water. There are pieces of art that are meant to find you at just the right time. There was this one film, oh my God, I don't remember which summer it was, but it was a summer I spent with my dad. And there was a film that my dad watched one summer with all of us in the living room. He was in the living room, on the living room couch with his girlfriend. He was with Pam long enough that I call, you've heard me say stepmom. I always mean Pam. Because they were just together for so long. And they tried to get us, me, my brother, and Pam's two kids, to watch a very serious movie with them. And I'm sorry, parents, but that's like an impossible task. I watched horror movies as a kid that can be really intense, but like a drama, really, really hard to do. Although I think I was a kid that's like, oh, Shawshank Redemption. That's so maybe I'm full of shit. But we could not sit still. It was just so boring as a kid. And the movie was Contact, 1997's Contact. It was initially, the book was initially a screenplay. And at some point, Carl Sagan turned it into a book instead. And I've read a few books by Sagan. I might be wrong, but I think Contact is Sagan's only work of fiction. I really can't say why, but the movie just kept getting mentioned to me recently and just popping up here and there. Someone made a Jodie Foster joke or something. I'm like, damn, why is this? So I just like started getting this urge a couple weeks ago to just read it. And, what was it? Dr. Jill Tarter, I think it's the name of the scientist. She was the inspiration for the main character, Ellie. And in an interview that I saw with her, she mentioned that a lot of female scientists she knew all had their fathers, or a good chunk of them had their fathers pass away at a very early age. Mine was 19. Looking back on it now, I'm like, God, I thought I was so old, but I was such a baby. The way Sagan writes Ellie's love for her father hit me pretty early on into the book. It's just one of the many things about the book that I adored. It's very science-driven, and I definitely had to reread sections, sometimes more than once. But all that being said, I feel like Contact by Carl Sagan is one of the most important books I have ever read in my entire life. When I hit the final sentence, I broke down. I broke down crying for a good 10 minutes. And I can't explain to you why, but I took a photo of myself crying. And there was just, as I was calming down, I thought about my dad trying to get me to sit still to watch this movie with him. And I got sad. More so. It's definitely, a movie most kids just wouldn't have been jazzed to see, as far as I was concerned at the time. But I think I get why he wanted me to watch it with him. Like, he's a big reason why I love science fiction. Like, he's the reason I love Star Trek and Star Wars to a lesser extent. But it was science fiction, sure, but there's something about that. So I told Stephen about, my experience with the book and my dad trying to get me to watch this movie. And he took me out to dinner, our favorite pho place nearby, where they make a mean taro boba. And then we went to Half Price and we found Contact. We found the movie. I was also looking for the book. I didn't find that. This is also where I got attacked by a spider while picking up a copy of Along Came a Spider, because I love the Alex Cross movies. But yeah, I haven't seen Contact in its entirety yet. I'm not ready yet, if that makes sense. But I do know it's different than the book. And I think it'll be special in a different way. But now was definitely the right time to read this. Seriously, it's one of my favorite books of all time. Like top 5. Which is wild. Came out in 1985. Check it. I'm all for sharing things, obviously. But please let me know when you check out some stuff, and know that you're always welcome to share what's keeping you relatively sane via obscurechatter@gmail.com or through one of my socials. I'm always looking for recommendations. Honestly, y'all, I always hope that this inspires you to check out things that are new or new to you. When I do these media recaps, it's not really about just going down a list of things. It's about sharing things that resonated with me as we go through this obscure journey together. And we all occasionally get that compulsion, that compulsive need to share a movie or a show or a song or a book or whatever with someone because it made you feel something. And you think who you share it with might feel that something too. I've said this before, but one of the reasons Obscure Chatter started was because of a time where someone totally shit all over something that meant a lot to me. And it hurt. And it made me feel stupid for liking this certain thing for a while. I learned that there is a word for wanting to share a piece of art that moved and or moves you. Velocia. It's like one part the word velocity and one part like inspiration from the Greek word for melody. I forget it. But Velocia. Doesn't that sound pretty? It's this want to have someone else consume that art and possibly get the same feeling you did or do from it. It's telling someone, hey, this piece of art is a part of me. It might be a part of you. Let's see. I wish I'd known this word when I was starting the show. Hell, the name of the show might be different. But you got to admit, Obscure Chatter is apt as fuck. Sometimes I think we forget that all those different forms of media are indeed art. Like, art isn't just paintings and sculptures. So you could say, I live in a museum. With nothing stolen from other cultures and tribes. You know who you are, museums. But, yeah, my house is a museum that keeps running out of space because physical media is a mandatory in the Doty-Hoff household. So much of what I'm collecting recently has been about recollecting. And I've actually been seeing a few articles and posts about let's call it an analog resurgence. Physical media like VHS, DVD, Blu-rays, CDs, records, hardbacks, paperbacks, they're all making a huge comeback right now. I'm somewhat annoyed because I hate fighting to get copies of stuff, but I get it. I respect it. I respect other people on their collecting journey. It's amazing how so many others are shocked that analog is back in vogue, though. That's funny. Some are trying to make it into like a nostalgia type of thing when it's really a sign of where we are, where digital is stalling or lacking, and, that pesky old economy. I mean, sure, nostalgia plays a part in it, and there are some young people getting into buying stuff. Young people, Jesus. But yeah, young people are collecting stuff. I know because they're the baby collectors that are calling VCRs VHS players. And I think burning discs requires a lighter. That I think they might think that. Who knows? Sorry, I got a little distracted in my thought process because my movie just started over for no reason at all. I was supposed to movie, y'all. I don't know what's happening. Whatever, I guess here we go again. Starting over. No, the trope is still gonna come from this movie. It just, that's so random. Even the movie, 100% just started over. I don't get it. Unless I have no concept of time and it's been an hour and a half. But yeah, they're I was talking about burning a CD and someone's like, burning a CD? That's weird. No. And VHS players is driving, and it's a VCR. Call it a VCR. I'm not old, you're old. I am old, it's fine. There really is something about actually having these movies and everything else, and actually having something in your hands. I think that it's not just about me being an old fuddy-duddy. I think the term is Luddite. I'm not against new technology and such. It just shouldn't suck. And it does. Often. You've heard a temper tantrum or two in the past Obscure Cheddar episodes. Oh man, when I was a kid, I really wanted to work at a video store. I really thought it was a given that I was going to work at one. The one time I got a call back from one of those shops, it was Blockbuster, and it was the big leagues. They wanted to schedule an interview, but I had just been hired at Super Salad. And so my mom told me it'd be really shitty to quit right after being hired. So I just didn't even say yes to an interview. I really wish I'd gone to the interview because who knew if they were even going to actually thoroughly consider hiring me. And, oh, God, I was there all the time. Me and my friend Casey would sometimes just help other people find movies. And it was right down the street from my house. Casey lived near me, too. And I think it's an urgent care now. I still have my membership card somewhere. I honestly toy with, Steven and I do this all the time. We toy with opening a shop of our own. Sell some coffee, just have funky movies playing, and just, damn it, that sounds fun. Movies, obviously, if you're not new here, you know this. Movies bring me a lot of joy. They always have. Part of it probably has to do with them being an escape, but I'm not going to dissect that at this very moment. No. When I got home from school, I'd get so excited when I'd see a new tape on the coffee table. I don't know if other parents did this. My mom likely just picked them up when she was at the store or something, and my brother and I would just tear off the plastic and watch it immediately without even being asking, like savages. That was a major mom win. We did tapes more than cable. And then we started going to the video store in Kroger that was right next to my this little Chinese kitchen that, oh, God, I went there so much. But we had cable off and on, and the video store was a weekly thing. Man, when I lived in George West, which is a very small town between San Antonio and Corpus, this couple we knew owned a couple stores in the area. and they lived in the same trailer park as us, and I was friends with their daughters, Sabrina and Andrea. I thought they were the coolest parents for having a video store, and I know I annoyed the hell out of them. I showed up unannounced all the fucking time, and I raided their pantry. I really, really did. But I never felt like I was missing out on stuff when I didn't have cable, at least until I was a teenager. I wanted cable then because I loved watching music videos in the morning, and I just wanted to have my own stuff. I watched Daria a lot, and I don't understand how I was able to do that with such a hit or miss having cable thing. I remember when streaming started, it used to be the way that it was kind of sold, at least from what I can recall, is like cutting out the middleman. And now I miss the simplicity of cable, which is a wild thing to say. It's more reliable than streaming is now, which talk about sad. And the Hollywood Reporter did a story about a guy who has a video store in LA called Be Kind. If you're in the area and haven't checked it out, check it out. Let me know how it is. And he said, the owner of Be Kind said something that really stuck with me about how streaming gives you options, but no real choice. And he also noted that it's just harder to find older things. And as a collector, fuck, man, accurate. And same goes for foreign films. I think Rolling Stone, that was like, oh God, the way they named it is so funky. They did a story called Physical Media is Cool Again. Streaming services have themselves to blame. And I mean, before I even read the article, I'm like, yup. And they just interviewed a bunch of people being like, why do you collect? And being like, duh. And the analog resurgence is also just reflective, like I mentioned a second ago, of the economy and the state of the world. There's a fuck ton of stuff on my queue that I just can't get to because I can't justify the prices. And the prices keep going up and up without any additional incentive to subscribe. Shit's expensive with no real trade-off. So buy stuff that's tangible when you can. Physical media is always a win, is the big takeaway here. Big takeaway. Always, always, always. I'm going to get a little more water. I don't know why I have to always narrate that I'm getting water, but it feels like if I don't, then you hear like quiet and then it's like glub, glub, glub. Glub, glub, glub. I did want to talk about something that happened to me and Steven recently because I'm still processing it. If you follow me on social media, specifically Blue Sky, I posted a little bit about it. This situation put the Doty-Hoffs in not a great position, a very weird position. Steven, a while ago, not too long ago, got a text from his brother David, and he wanted to use our vocal booth. Like I say, my booth a good chunk of the time, but Steven uses it too. You might recall our vocal booth. It's the thing we used to use for obscure chatter before Texas decided to try to kill me if I'm in there for more than a minute. But the living room is pretty cool. But anyways, brother-in-law, there really wasn't a question about using the booth, but rather when he could use it. And that's a whole separate thing that I'm not going to get into right now anyway. Let me know if you want to know more about that. I don't know what there is to expand on, actually. But he also mentioned that he wanted all of us to get together with Ed, who is my father-in-law and Stephen and David's dad. That's how that works, as I punch the pop screen. Stephen left David on red for a little bit, and we just kind of like back and forthed it and kind of guessed what it was about. But we wanted confirmation, so we asked and asked and asked, and David didn't want to go into specifics on the phone. He wanted to do this in person. And it got really annoying before he finally admitted that he wanted Ed to hop into our booth and record for the purposes of cloning Ed's voice. If you're new here, you should know that I am vehemently against AI usage. My voice has been cloned without my consent at least 3 times. It was clear on one of the clones that they used either this podcast or my previous one, that anime show, to learn. And that's hours and hours of content, and it still sounded fuck awful weird. And then there's David thinking Ed can just hop into the booth for probably the first time in his life and spout out enough shit in one, in a line or two. And we said no, and no again, and then said it ain't gonna happen. And look, I get it. Ed is 91. Hoffs are stubborn, but he's not gonna live forever. I know that. David's thought process is that he wants to be able to hear his dad whenever he wants. But why couldn't the option have been something like, hey, I'd like to record dad talking so I can play those files when I'm feeling down? Something like that. Like, I might have been down for that. Might still be down for that. I also don't think David understands how involved the process really is. Like, the end result is going to be your not dad saying whatever you want, but it's not going to be your dad. It's going to sound really weird. No. He said he understood after Steven and I spoke to him about it, but maybe he just blew us off because we didn't give him what he wanted. What kind of definitely pissed me off was that he didn't ask Ed. Steven caught up with his dad a couple days later, and Ed was like, no idea what you're talking about. I mean, what was that conversation going to be like in person if we'd done it? Like, hey, Dad, can you stroll into that tiny room for an hour or two? We just want to make you say all types of shit after you kick the bucket. Like, no. And I posted about it, and I love that everyone was on the same page. Everyone. And I mentioned that when my dad passed, I made sure to keep this tape from his answering machine. I don't know where it is now. But all it was him doing his outgoing message. But it was his voice. Just being like, hey, call me back, leave a message, da-da-da. I forget. And he passed away in 2003. So technology wasn't great when it came to saving voicemails and all that. Maybe for some people in 2003, but I was not one of them. I would also think that AI cloning for the purpose of wanting to hear a loved one might fuck up the grieving process. I mean, don't quote me on that or anything, but it seems like a fair assumption. And I hope we weren't too harsh with him, with David, because I truly think his heart was in the right place. If this had been anyone else, I highly doubt we would have been as nice about it. But we don't want any part of that, and neither does Ed. Like, I don't know. Like, next time we all get together, we can chat about just recording Ed. I'd have loved more like audio to hear just my dad's voice. Just hear it, not replicate it in any way. I had, mostly just pictures and cards, and that's about it. There was a little bit more, but my mom's house caught fire. For some of you who've known me for a while, we lost a lot of stuff. I left a lot of stuff with her and my brother who was living there. Sorry, I was just thinking about, talking about shrinking. There was this part where, it's Jason Segel's character is a widower. And he has a daughter too. And at one point his daughter's recollecting something. And when it cuts back to her, she realizes she doesn't remember her mom's laugh. And I kind of do that a little bit where I'm like, God, Dad, my dad had this horrible fake laugh. Like when he was just trying to be like, yeah, that's hilarious. It was this like, ha ha, really like obviously like, I don't think this is funny, but maybe pretending it's funny helps. Did this little like thing, like when he was trying not to laugh at something, like this, and I kind of do it too. I miss his voice. I miss his stupid laughs, all the degrees, even the fake one. he also did this awful, horrible Donald Duck. He did this voice all the time. And the idea of trying to artificially recreate any of that disturbs me. It really does. There's the end. God. When I go, are you guys going to listen to these as comfort? I kind of hope you don't. But if you do, hi, hello from beyond the grave. Enough about that. Enough. Let's get back to art. Art. Saying that weird art. I bit my tongue to do that. I've been drawing a lot recently. And I gotta tell you, I fucking love it. See? It's all digital art too. So see, I'm not a Luddite. I do stuff. I just takes me until it's kind of old. I might be a Luddite. It's so crazy to be into like anything in the digital space, especially art. When I thought I kind of hated it. Oh, wow. To be fair, the reason I thought I hated it was because of a teacher in college. I don't think I've ever talked about this. I'm pretty sure I haven't. I have a degree in radio, TV, film. That you probably know. But one of the required classes for my degree was computers and video production. And I think a 2. I forget which one this is. But, man, I wonder if they even have these courses anymore. Video's changed so much since I went to school. Because I am ancient. And I went to school with Cleopatra and Julius Caesar salad. I know what I said. Not all the teachers were full-time, especially if their expertise was in one specific area. I think I've mentioned this before in that anime show randomly, but Christopher Bevins, who was my first producer working in anime, we went to the same college, graduated from the same program, just at different times. Like there were clippings of him that I saw in class well before I ever met him. That's a random thing. But the teacher for computers and video production was, oh shit, should I say his name? Let's call him Billiam. It's not a name, but here we are. I actually took this course twice. The first time I took it, I skipped a lot. I only showed up on test days and did all the assignments on my own time. I can't tell you why, other than, you know, it was a Saturday class and I was in my early 20s. If you know anything about being in your early 20s and giving up a Saturday, that might tell you something. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it right now. But so, yeah, I failed and I had to take it again. But this time it wasn't on Saturday, which worked out better until it didn't. The teacher was Billiam again. Billiam was an odd guy, like a milquetoast twig that had short curly hair, thick glasses, and a dried out John Waters type of mustache. Bad breath that was 1 part gas station coffee and 1 part tuna melt. He just rubbed me the wrong way. Like not in a creepy way necessarily. But I just didn't like when he had to review whatever was on my computer, like in the computer lab. Do they have computer labs still? No, Terry, focus. But he hovered. And again, he smelled weird. So as I'm nearing the end of the semester, class is going pretty well. We had to study, pretty much every Adobe program, Avid, and all this stuff, and had to do a lot of digital illustrations and things like that. But so many people were so good at certain things, and just I struggled here and there. And when I would ask for help, Billiam just wasn't the teacher that he needed to be. Like I didn't feel supported, and a few other people kind of felt that way too. So our big class project was different than the first time I took it. I mean, or maybe it wasn't. Again, I really showed up. But our big class project was to get all of us to do like a real world scenario of a production where we were broken up into teams and we couldn't turn anything in unless it followed the production deadline. So if someone doing something in pre-production fell behind, someone in post-production couldn't just turn something in early. It had to follow the deadlines, the timeline. So if we all turned our stuff in, Billiam said he would grade us individually. But if we, as a class, didn't finish, we would be failed across the board. Which made no fucking sense. But we kind of let it slide because we're like, obviously we're all going to finish. But during one of the classes, Billiam was talking to one of the teams that had to turn their stuff in first. As we're all working on our stuff at the same time, we're just waiting to turn it in at the right appropriate time, whatever. But they weren't doing well, and it didn't seem like they were going to finish. So Billiam made this announcement that we were all on the verge of failing. And this was going to fuck up like everything, our entire grade. And for some people, it was like their last class to take before they graduated. And my friend John immediately spoke up. And John, he was just one of those like, whatever, people. He's like one of the coolest people I'd ever met. We basically started around the same time in the program. So we took a lot of the same classes together. We both smoked at the same time, we both smoked at the same time. We both smoked cigarettes. So we'd often just shoot the shit after class, like in the smoking area. John's very chill. Not a lot ruffled him. So for John to speak up meant some shit was going down. He told Billiam that it was unfair for all of us to be working so hard on our individual assignments. And after just a little bit of back and forth, Billiam said, tough. And that's when I chimed in. And John and we backed each other up. And no one else in the fucking class spoke up. It's been like almost 20 years, but fucking cowards. You're fucking cowards. It got heated. Saying it got heated was a fucking understatement. It got loud. John got loud. I got loud. And Billiam, it's so hard to call him Billiam instead of his stupid fucking name. Billiam actually sounds kind of cool the more I say it. But just eventually, John left. And then Billiam turned all of his efforts to me, so I left too. Got my shit and just followed John out. And when I say like people are cowards, I mean like so many classmates thanked John and I for speaking up when we really could have used the backup in the fucking moment. And John and I like decompressed outside with a couple cigarettes and a lot of vulgarity. But we didn't do anything about Billiam at the moment. Just went back and, continued about our day. We were planning to talk to our program coordinator, Jerry. I'm using Jerry's real name because Jerry didn't suck. And when I got to computers and video the next time, Billiam walked right up to me and asked to speak to me in the hallway, which, as you know, was probably a really great sign for me. I looked for John, and John hadn't shown up yet. And when we got out into the hall, Billiam was way too close with his coffee tuna melt breath. And he told me my behavior was completely unacceptable. And he went above Jerry's head to an admin, and he wanted John and I expelled for our behavior. And as he's still kind of, that's when John came in and saw me in the hall, walked up to me and Billiam. God, I'm pretty sure I didn't just say his name. No, I think I'm being pretty good about it. But Billiam told John the same thing he told me, and John just looked at me and chuckled to himself. I'm like, God, this dude is so fucking cool. He's like John Bender from Breakfast Club if he was raised better. He was like that kind of chill, the eat my shorts, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But we finished class without talking, and then we just each scheduled meetings with Jerry. I had a meeting with Jerry later that day, and I lost it because I'd already been in the program for a while. Jerry and I had already gotten to know each other at this point. He knew a lot of personal stuff about me. He knew I had dropped out prior to in order to take care of my dad's estate. So I came back and finished the program and started it all over. He knew that I was paying for my classes by myself. And I was living in what should have been a condemned house for the cheap ass rent. I was working at Guitar Center at the time, so I was making maybe $900 a month. Jerry knew that I was still pretty fragile from a lot of shit personally. And I mean, other side of the coin, his wife was my first screenwriting mentor. And Jerry was a scary guy when he wanted to be, but he was also just kind. And especially when I broke down in front of him, giving him the story, I'm I cannot fail this class again. And I definitely can't be expelled because this is the only school that I can afford. And I didn't want to be expelled for just speaking my fucking mind. Granted, I probably cussed a lot. It's second nature to me. Hello. So Jerry set up a meeting with the admin Billiam had spoken to. And I told her, my side of the story. John did the same thing. And we didn't get expelled. We did still have to finish the semester, which we did. Billiam was antagonistic toward the both of us, but he still did his job. I did find out later that he grilled his TAs to make sure they didn't help me on my projects or my exams, because I made perfect scores on those. That exam was too easy for an actor that memorizes lines, stupid, shady, shady cunt that you are, Billiam. And Billiam was not asked back for another semester. How do you like them apple processors, bitch? Does that make sense? I don't fucking care. Boop, boop, ba-doo. There was a little more drama to the situation, believe it or not. I think I'm downplaying some of it. And there was some after. Some of which resulted in Jerry yelling at a classmate of mine for making a really fucked up joke at my expense regarding that whole situation. I'll leave it there for now. For now. Was that enough trauma just to tell you this is why I've avoided digital art for a long time? And just since the beginning of this year, I've been sharing my little ghosties and stuff. And again, if you want to see that stuff, find me on social media. I'm challenging myself by drawing something for every day in October, maybe a little bit of November. And if you want to keep up with all that and or spooky recommendations before the next obscure chatter, follow me on Instagram and Blue Sky, TEEDOTALLY, or search Terri Doty and look for this blonde goddess. Currently blonde goddess. Just look for me and I'll say something clever in the bio. Do I know what it is yet? No, I don't. Well, that's wrapping up September, of a really nice pre-Halloween month, or the prequel, Halloween prequel. Well, mostly. Mostly it's been nice. Mostly. I've glossed over a lot or most of the horrors of reality during this little chat. I am, again, always up for topic requests and or questions, which you can send to, again, obscurechatter@gmail.com. All submissions remain anonymous. Until next time, read good shit, watch good shit, listen to good shit, don't be a shit, and may shitty people have the day they deserve. Later.